Hey, Andrew here, and welcome to Electric Guitar Basics Week 8. Hey, just as a quick side note, if you haven't been following along, these practice routines are designed to be done in about 8 minutes a day. And that way, if you don't have a lot of time, you can at least get some practice in, you can improve your technique, you can improve your knowledge of the fretboard. If you want to grab the handouts, I've got all of the printable PDF files for these lessons over on my Patreon account. Let me know in the comments down below how you've been going with these lessons, if they've been helping you, if there's some stuff you'd like to see in future lessons. Other than that, let's dive in. Okay, the first exercise is our alternate picking exercise, and you guessed it, once again, it's going to be a variant on the spider exercise, but this time it's specifically designed to help you tackle the problem of crossing strings. As such, we don't have a single pair of notes on a consecutive pair of strings anywhere. So the exercise is going to go like this. So what we're doing, once again, one finger per fret, but this time rather than just going up to the next fret, we're going to go to the string below. So our first note is going to be our index finger on the first fret of the low E string. Our second finger will be on the second fret of the A string. Third finger on the third fret of the D string. And then our pinky or fourth finger will be on the fourth fret of the G string. From there, we're going to place our index finger onto the first fret of the D string. We're going to follow the same sort of pattern. So second finger on the second fret of the G string, third finger on the third fret of the B string, and then our pinky on the fourth fret of the high E string. Once we get to the top, we simply come up a fret. So our index finger is going to be on the second fret of the high E string, and then we're going to reverse the pattern, like such. And then we're going to jump from there to the G string and do the same thing again. Get to the top, move up a fret, and just continue the process down the fretboard. Okay, this week's legato exercise is a real pain in the butt. Or maybe I should say a pain in the fingers, because what we're doing is we're going to be doing a series of trills followed by a legato pattern. The first trill that we're going to do is going to be between our index finger and our pinky, and we're going to be playing this index finger on the 5th fret of the high E string, then our pinky is going to be hammering on and pulling off from the 8th fret of the high E string, like such. Now the second one is going to be from our index finger to our third finger. Once again, our index finger will be on the 5th fret of the high E string, third finger this time will be on the 7th fret. Last trill will be between our index finger and our middle finger, or our second finger, and it's going to be first finger on the 5th fret, and then our second finger will be on the 6th fret. Okay, and then like I said, we follow that with a legato pattern, and this pattern is going to go from our index finger to our third finger to our pinky, back to our third finger, and then a pull off back to our index finger, all starting on the 5th fret, like such. The way we're going to practice these exercises is like a superset at the gym. So we're going to do one exercise straight after the other. So the first trill will be followed by the second trill, which will be followed by the third trill, which will be followed by the legato pattern. And we want to do this with a clock or some sort of a timer that you can see, because to start off with, what I want you to try and do is hold each trill for about 15 seconds. And we're going to get through the whole 4 exercises. And then when we get to the end, we want to stop, have a quick rest, stretch your fingers out a little bit, and then start again. Do it 3 times. Okay, our bending lick for the week is going to utilize pattern 4. We're going to be in A minor pentatonic, which is where we've had most of these exercises throughout the course of these little weekly practice routines. Now this one's going to start by sliding with our middle finger up to the 14th fret on the G string. We're then going to play a triplet, and that's going to go from our index finger on the 13th fret of the B string, back to our middle finger on the 14th fret of the G string, back to our index finger on the 13th fret of the B string, like such. We're then going to bend the 15th fret up a tone, pluck the 12th fret on the high E string, and then back to the 15th fret on the B string. We're going to do a bend and release. We're going to finish up with our index finger on the 13th fret of the B string with a little bit of vibrato. So it should sound like this, nice and slow. Now, if you've been following along for the last 7 weeks, we will have learned all 5 of our minor pentatonic scale patterns. What we're going to do today is we're going to practice linking these up across the entire neck, which is the whole point of learning them. And what your homework will be is to actually work out how to play them in all 7 of the natural keys. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you how to do this in F. And so what we're simply going to do is we're going to start with pattern 1. If you don't remember what pattern 1 is, it looks and sounds like this. Watch for the little diagram. And our root note for that particular pattern, if you remember, is on the 1st fret, and also on the 3rd fret on the D string, 1st fret on the high E string. And next door to that is going to be pattern 2. Now our root note for pattern 2 is under our index finger on the D string, and it's going to sound like this. Followed by pattern 3. Now pattern 3's tonic or root note is under our 3rd finger, and in this case, because we're in the key of F, it's going to be on the A string on the 8th fret, and it will look and sound like such. Pattern 4 has the same root note as pattern 3, except this time the root note is under our index finger, so it will be like this. And then the last one is pattern 5. Now its root note is shared with pattern 1, but in this case we're an octave higher, and our 3rd finger will be on the 13th fret of the low E string. Now hopefully, just from doing that, you'll be able to see how these scales link together. But to help you practice this, what I want you to do, and what's going to be on the PDF handout, what's also I'm demonstrating now in the key of F, is we're going to ascend through pattern 1, then we're going to slide up and descend through pattern 2, ascend through pattern 3, descend through pattern 4, ascend through pattern 5, and we're going to end up basically back to pattern 1 but an octave higher. So it'll sound like this, nice and slow. Now to practice this in all 7 keys, what you're going to need to do is find out what the lowest scale pattern is. And to do that, all we do is find out, let's say the key of C. Well, the C note on the 3rd fret of the A string is going to be our lowest tonic that we're going to find there. So if we know what our root notes are in our scale patterns, we know that it's either going to be pattern 4 from our index finger, but we've still got some notes up here. So I'd be more inclined to use pattern 3 as our lowest shape. We can play through that. Then go back to pattern 4. And then 5, back to 1, 2, 3, etc. And we just do that same thing for each key. If you do have any questions about this or it's giving you any trouble, leave me a comment down below and I'll get back to you and answer those questions. But in a nutshell, that's how I want you to practice your scale patterns. That way you're going to get comfortable playing from, I guess, the bottom end of the neck to the top end of the neck, all in one key, covering all of those 5 shapes. Hey, thanks again for joining me in this weekly practice routine and taking the time to invest in your playing. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell so you can be notified when the next one of these videos comes out. Leave a like, leave a comment, it all helps the algorithm. But most importantly, keep practicing, have a fantastic week, and until I see you next week, peace.